Go.
All right.
I have a 3769 number 12 hook in the vise. That's a Tiemco hook, a short-shanked wet fly hook. You could also, if you prefer, use a Daiichi 1550, a very much an equivalent hook. And the first thing we'll do is take down the barb so we can release fish a little easier or get it out of ourselves if we stick ourselves. We'll tie an olive shrimp, which is one of the very common crustaceans that are in central Pennsylvania limestone streams like Spring Creek and Logan Branch. Olive seems to be the most common color, so that's what we'll go with. We'll take 15 thousandths lead wire and wrap a section in the middle of the hook. Notice we're going to leave, I have maybe 8-9 wraps there, and I'm going to leave room both fore and aft of the lead wire so I can attach my thread and make a nice tapered underbody over which I'll tie my fly. And I'll simply coat this lead wire with thread. That stabilizes it in position, keeps it from rolling, and also if we have any holes in our dubbing, it'll look a little better than just the lead wire. Take a piece of monofilament. This is 5X or 6X monofilament. This is monofilament thread, but if you have an old spool of leader tippet you're a little uncertain of, you can certainly use it to tie with, and you simply tie in the ribbing behind the lead wraps, getting ready to wrap forward. Next, we'll take a strip of a Ziploc bag, and this is just the top of a Ziploc bag, and we'll cut a little strip. And we're going to cut it such that it's about as wide as the gap of the hook, or thereabouts. If you don't want to cut strips off a Ziploc bag like I'm doing right here, you can simply use the material called Scud back. That's commercially available. And that's about equal to the gap of the hook in width. And we'll tie that flat over the back of the fly like a big wing case, getting ready to pull it forward to cover the back of the fly. And you can notice it's just ready to pull forward to form our shell back. Next, we'll take some medium olive dubbing. This is something I blend myself, but you could also use hairline number 11, which is a medium olive, or Wapsie Beaver dubbing in olive. And we'll use a fairly generous coat of this. We don't need to be sparse with this dubbing because we're going to pick it out kind of aggressively to look like the legs on our shrimp. And we'll wrap this dubbing forward. And I can see right now I don't have quite enough, so I'll just add a little bit more. And again, keep it fairly thick. Not sloppy, but fairly heavy because we will pick it out. Come forward. That's about right. About an eye length for the head. Bring the shell back forward. Give it a little stretch. Tie it down nice and neatly with a loose loop and then tighter turns. Trim the excess. Rib forward. Nice spaced turns with our monofilament. Of course, now it's starting to look very shrimp-like. Trim the excess. Build a nice neat head. And whip finish. Invert the fly in the vise and use your dubbing needle to get in there and pick out the legs fairly aggressively. And again, if you've put the dubbing in there fairly thickly, you'll be able to pick the legs out fairly easily. If it's a little tight, you might have to work a little harder. But when we get a fair amount of it picked out, it looks very much like the legs on a shrimp. And there's our finished shrimp, ready to take to Spring Creek.